This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the Out of Time Film Podcast. My name is Tom and as always I'm joined with my co-host John, and this week we're talking about Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Oh, yeah. So here's the funny thing. Me and Tom, we watched The Little Mermaid and then we watched Transformers. We did a double bill. Now, usually when we do these double bills, we would get some rest after we watched the first film. Like, for example, we would just get food. Now, we only had an hour to fully digest Little Mermaid. And then we got into the cinema to see Transformers. And the cinema was just boiling hot. It was just so... we tried our best to pay attention on the film. We just lost our interest. We just watched another film. So it can be a bit exhausting when you're watching the film because you've just been sitting down for 6 hours and you're just I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, we could have gone for a walk, could have had a bit of a stretch, get some of the fresh air, but no, we decided we're going to, after Little Mermaid, we'll sit in the cinema, wait for the next one, then we'll watch the next one. And
we were just discussing.
We were destroyed.
It's just funny that we got into this film just tired and bothered. We were just oh no, it's Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson's in this film.
He did it again.
He's
everything. He really does.
He's in everything. Yeah.
He's just we talked about Fast X recently, and it's bam, Pete Davidson. We did bodies, and there he is again. And it's and in this, it's Mirage is a character. And, when I got home, I looked at the cast and I was Pete Davidson again. He just keeps on showing up. I see so many news reports where it's and Pete Davidson's been cast in this movie and that movie. It's damn, I wonder who his agent is because they are getting him so many roles.
They're giving him bank. He knows how to get in films.
Yes. Okay. So full spoilers ahead. Briefly explain the plot for those who don't know.
Right. Optimus Prime and the Autobots take on the biggest challenge yet. When a new threat capable of destroying the entire planet emerges, they must team up with the powerful faction of Transformers known as the Maximals to save Earth.
Lovely. I just want to point out, I just Googled it. Pete Davidson was in Guardians 3 as well.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No, I can't escape it. I can't. Oh my god!
And he was in the Suicide Squad, and I'm really getting away from myself here. But I'm just thinking of all the times that Pete Davidson is in everything.
Oh my god! Imagine he was in Spider-Verse.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me, honestly. The amount of people who are in that movie. He's probably in the background playing some sort of really obscure spider
known as Pete Davidson Spider.
No, that's his secret identity and his hero identity. It's just Pete Davidson.
It's just Pete Davidson.
Amazing. Right, okay. Pete Davidson aside. Transformers.
Yes. Transformers.
What did you think?
As we said before, we were tired and bothered. Now,
yes,
this is entirely different from the Michael Bay films, which is pretty good. If you watch the entire Michael Bay film series, it is just insane. He loves explosions. It's just a fact. He loves to create chaos and insane story that I won't understand until this day.
I respect the guy. He's crazy, but at the same time, there's definitely a charm to it. And a headache that comes with it. I swear, this movie was only, I think, 2 hours and 5 minutes, not bad at all. But the other Transformers movies, man, they're long. He's pushing on 3 hours.
The Dark Side of the Moon.
The Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
So long. I think when that movie came out, I want to say it was 2011 or something. But I remember seeing it and, just having such a headache when I left the cinema. And actually, after the cinema, it was your birthday party, John. It was a Doctor Who themed one. So this was when Transformers was at the cinema.
You watched
it must have been 2011 or something. Yeah, and I just come back from seeing Transformers. And I had the biggest headache ever. And then we were hey, let's eat fish fingers and custard. And I was this is a good idea, yes. This is going to be a cure for my headache. Not going to make it worse.
Man, yeah. Okay, so this was just a mindless, fun action film. There wasn't really anything story-rich or anything cool. But at least we got Optimus Prime back again. Pretty cool character.
You can't go wrong with Optimus Prime. He has kind of an arc in this one, I guess. I don't really know if they were going for like, oh yeah, his arc is that he learns to trust humans again, or maybe that his arc is that he learns to let Cybertron go, something like that. But he's there to be cool. He's there to say cool things and do cool fights and transform and all that. And they do that.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the cast list now. It's kind of stacked. Ron Perlman was
Yes.
Optimus Primal.
Yes.
Yeoh
Yeah.
was Airraiser, and Peter
Whoa, Peter-
Dinklage was Scourge.
That's
and
incredible. Okay, I recognize
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh's voice, and so I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. So like in the movie, I recognize that, but there's other people, not a clue. I love that, and I love that Peter Cullen is still voicing Optimus Prime as ever, even though he
Yeah.
may have had issues with how he was portrayed. He's still doing it because he's just the best at it. What I love about the film is that just like every single Transformers film, it opens with like a narration where they're like, for generations we have been hiding on the planets, and there is this very specific piece of technology that we need,
Cybertron.
and whether it be the cube or like the seed or like the shard, like every single Transformers movie has like a MacGuffin that they just like always, they're like, we got to get this, and we're gonna go on a globe-trotting adventure to find this specific thing. And then like the Decepticons are after it, or I guess they're not Decepticons in this, but still like just a lot like
Is it what's it called again? What they
Tricepticons? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what? At the time of recording this, it's been 2 days since we've seen it. I have forgotten everything. I have a couple of notes from when I left the cinema, but that's not very helpful. One of my notes is, do they have fur? That's one of my notes.
Fur?
Do they have fur? Yeah, the animals. Do they have fur? It
The
seems like they have
Maximals.
fur. The Maximals, that's right.
Okay, that's a good question, actually. You know, you can see that with Airraiser's character design, really. You can
Yeah,
see
like, does she have feathers? They don't look metal. They look just genuine feathers. Like, what? How does that work?
Yeah, because you need aerodynamic. Oh my god, we can't talk about the physics here now because we've been too.
Do they have fur? We need to know.
Oh,
who cares
my
about
God.
suspension of disbelief? This is important.
It's Transformers. Anyway, yeah. So the story was, again, as I just said earlier, it was just mindless. There was just these two characters, Noah and Elena, who somehow caught up, tangled of situations of finding the warp key or something. And then Unicorn wants to eat Earth because he's hungry. For some reason, he likes to eat planets and rocks as well.
Rocks are a great source of vitamins. I eat 1 rock a day. It's important.
Yeah. And fun fact, Unicron was actually teased at the end of the last Michael Bay Transformers film.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the only one that I haven't seen. Damn. Well. So I guess now, let's say that the Michael Bay movies are canon, because they're, some people are thinking that there's going to be a soft reboot or whatever, but they came in the 90s and then they came again in like 2017 or whatever.
They appear like they say, this is my first time visiting Earth, but no, they were here the entire time. It can be a bit messy when you go in the timeline because you think, oh, there's more Transformers. Oh,
you know what's going to make it less messy though? Crossing over with G.I. Joe.
Oh my god.
Let's take a moment and let's just talk about the ending of this movie, where we go from Noah's job interview to the guy being like, we need someone like you. Here's my business card. And Noah reads it and out loud he's like, G.I. Joe? And it's just like, yeah, we're going to do a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. And they're making a cinematic universe. Why?
It's so out of place. When you watch the entire film, it's just like mindless. These two characters trying to save the world. Optimus was like, no, Bumblebee. Yeah, Bumblebee wasn't really active that much in the film.
Oh, yeah. What? Bumblebee is introduced and then dies immediately. And it is just what a decision. Considering that the last movie of the franchise, the one that was the most critically successful, maybe even ever, Bumblebee, this is the one that everybody agrees is really, really great. And they just kill Bumblebee straight away. He was like the lead of the last one. And you're like, nah, get rid of him. He's not cool. He actually is. No. He's really cool. And yet we're following like Mirage, who I just found really annoying.
Yeah, he was annoying at times. Like the dialogue was just not it, really. It was just, please stop. I don't want to hear more of the dialogue. I know you're supposed to be like this bouncy, upbeat character. But then, out of nowhere, well, I mean, it was kind of hinting that he was going to save Noah. But what I didn't expect was to be like this power-up thing. Noah just gets this suit from Mirage and he's like Mega Man or something like that. He has this blaster in it. I don't know what happened at this point. We were just like, we don't care anymore.
It's just like they're going for this Iron Man, RoboCop kind of vibe, and you can still see his face, and so it looks really jarring. And I'm just like, what is this? Why? Because I know that so far we've just kind of been giving all of our criticisms, but to be positive, I thought the action in this movie was pretty cool. Definitely not quite the big bombastic action of Michael Bay. It doesn't have the same weight, but it still has merit in its own right. And a lot of the action, especially some of the earlier stuff, I think really works. But I don't know why they felt the need to have Noah fighting. I know that a lot of people criticize the human characters in the Transformers movies and that they take away too much time from the actual Transformers themselves. And I would say that the solution to that isn't to make the human also a Transformer. Like, that is just a ridiculous idea.
Yeah, as you said, the action was pretty good in some cases. Like the fight against Scourge and Optimus at the end, I thought that was pretty cool. But then there aren't arcs like Elena's. I mean, it's there. The character arc is there, but there wasn't really emotional weight to it. Like anything. Like they go, oh, we found the code. Oh, now I can do this. Oh, great.
Yeah, I feel like both of those characters are about proving their worth. Whether it's Noah, who doesn't have a job, but also has a lot of skills and is really disregarded by everyone. And then, Elena, who is really skilled with like historical artifacts and stuff like that and just has to be like an intern. And yet, I feel like the characters never really bond over that. And yet, they both have their opportunity to prove themselves when Elena puts in the key and when Noah helps to defeat Scourge. But I'm just kind of thinking to myself, why still, even though there's clearly trying to give the actual Transformers more of the spotlight, do they all still feel so hollow and so flat? It's definitely not quite as generic as the previous films in the franchise, but also it loses a lot of the charm of Bumblebee, I would say.
Yeah, there wasn't a flair in the film, like something that really didn't attract me. I wish there was something.
There's an idea of this conflict with Noah and Optimus when Noah wants to destroy the warp key and is like, I want to protect Earth, whereas the Autobots need it to get home. And there's a couple of moments where I think it really works and you're building this tension, but that tension never really amounts to anything. And at the end, Prime is like, yeah, destroy the warp key. And it's like, well, when did you make the decision that you were okay with never seeing Cybertron again? Your whole character was, oh, I feel really bad because I got stranded here. And then that's it. Huh?
Yeah, and I don't know why we haven't got much time with the maximals. It was a pretty cool concept, but the one thing that really annoyed me was that we didn't get to see more of their battle mode or something that they transform into.
They literally transform once.
Yeah, like Optimus Primal, he has this really cool transformation. I thought, do they have other transformations? But no, they just decided to keep it in the third act. It was just very, very weird because I thought, this is supposed to be on the rise of the beast. But no, it's just Optimus Prime just being angry at Scourge all the time.
Yeah, it's barely the rise of the beasts and more like the casual walk of the beasts. There's a really cool idea of Optimus Primal is inspired by Optimus Prime, and the two of them have a lot in common with the way that they've both lost their homes and the way that they want to stand and fight, but also have a lot of trauma behind them. The film doesn't really explore that. So I do have an email here from Samuel Masson, and he says, hello there, Ask Time Film Pod. Rise of the Beast was very disappointing, and I know I shouldn't expect different because of how recent films have been in this franchise, but still, it was disappointing. The humor in this film rarely landed for me. Transformers has comedy throughout the franchise, but this one felt like it was really scraping the bottom of the barrel with the comedy, in my opinion. It just felt either forced or just too much. The other thing that really stood out to me was the lack of Michael Bay. Sure, whilst his films are often an explosion of noise, I felt that aspect suited the Transformers franchise, and the lack of it here let the film down a lot. One positive I do take from this film is the track Till All Are One. The last minute of this song brings back the iconic Arrival to Earth score from the first film. After I heard it, it redeemed the film slightly, but not enough to change my mind. I feel I've been very critical of films lately, which is a shame, but hopefully that changes soon. Until next time, gentlemen, take care and thanks for the pod. Sam. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, I kind of agree. you do miss some of Michael Bay's, loud explosions every time, and you can hear the money go every time there's an explosion used. Like, you just realize that, yes, this is Michael Bay. But this film is a lot nicer to watch without too much Michael Bay in your face. It's just like, it's quiet, you don't have to be confused what's happening. I mean, take a look at the end of the third film, and you look at the battle, you're just like, I don't know what's happening, but this is just Michael Bay. And this one is a lot quieter, and you don't get to see a lot of explosions.
A lot of Michael Bay films become just noise in the third act, especially the later Transformers movies. And I kind of think he has two modes as a filmmaker. There's one where it's just this kind of pornographic, like a sexy, almost fetishized view of a lot of things.
Yes.
A lot of people clown on his view of the US Army and the way that he presents all of that. And I think that there's a lot of grandiosity to that. It feels very similar to like Zack Snyder and the weight and the way that he presents power. I think all that is good, but I think that the other mode is that kind of turned up to 11 when it is just noise and
It's just
it is
noise,
just
yeah.
kind of uncomfortable to watch. And some of the stuff that's trying to be sexy in the first few Transformers movies is really distracting. And I think that, as you say, I think this movie kind of strikes a decent balance, although it may stray into nothingness a little bit. Some like they're kind of fighting a CGI army at the end, and it's a bit like, oh. But I do think Sam brings up some good points. I mean, we already said, but I don't think the film is that funny.
No, I couldn't find the funny. I was just like watching the entire film, and I just felt like, is this supposed to be funny? And I just felt so bored. I just couldn't really get in. Yeah, it tries to get into humorous stuff, but it just failed.
Yeah, it feels like the early Transformers movies, like the first one. It feels
does.
like they're making a movie there. They're making something that, really has something to say. And I feel like even 2018's Bumblebee, they're like, we're making cinema here. We don't have any ulterior motives. But then here they're like, yes, we're going to expand the universe and we're going to make something that's going to be marketable. And I know that Transformers is always made to sell toys, but this one, there was a hollowness to it. It wasn't necessarily bad, but I don't think it was necessarily that good either. I could switch my mind off and enjoy it. Like at the end of the day, I'm not like a diehard Transformers fan, and so therefore I'm not pissed that it's a bad movie. I'm just like, yeah, it was a bit boring. There wasn't really much to it, and so I agree with that. I mean, I didn't even notice that piece of music at the end, but when I was a kid, I used to love the first Transformers score. It used to always be in my head. And so I do wish that some of it was a bit more memorable, just like that. Like, I wish it wasn't so unremarkable and there were things that I could point out and be like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there was some bits of epic stuff in there, but overall, it wasn't really exciting to watch. I remember I was watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this looks good.
The trailer was cool.
Yeah, the trailer was cool. If anyone's seen that merged trailer between
oh my god,
that Little Mermaid and the Transformers trailer as well.
Now that's the movie that I want to see.
That is the biggest crossover that I want to see.
Fuck Barbenheimer. This is what I want to see. I want to see Little Mermaid and Transformers together. Now that's the crossover of the summer.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, me too. I mean, that's it. Like at the end of the email, Sam says that it's been a lot of negative recently, and I think that there has been some disappointments lately. But if ever there were films that I have faith in, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, we're about to get a slew of some really impressive films. Cinematically, I think that's really going to fill the hole that we feel in our souls.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully cinema can get back on its feet again. There's a lot of disappointment this year so far, and I just like, why do these films exist? It's just so bizarre. And I mean, you got a huge fan base over the Transformers films, and it's just like, why do these films exist? It's just so weird.
They're doing it for the fans.
They're doing it for the fans.
Make the fans happy.
Yes, the family. Imagine we get a Transformers and Fast and Furious crossover.
There was an edit recently of Dominic Toretto meeting
Optimus
Prime as like a theoretical post-credit scene to Fast X. That I would 100% see. I would love that.
Oh my
that just
God.
seems
Optimus
like
Prime
be crazy.
He saves Dom at the end, like in the
first. Yeah, the cliffhanger for Fast X is solved by Optimus Prime. Now that is unexpected.
That is a cinema experience. Like, you can hear everyone be like, how's Dom's going to be saved? And then you hear Optimus Prime going, Autobots roll in, and then the whole cinema goes wild. They're saying like,
Yeah.
it's him.
Yeah.
It's
It's where the multiverse is going, right? Like, I'm hearing reports literally today about like, oh, they're bringing back Jennifer Garner's Elektra for Deadpool 3, and it's like, we need to make these crossovers exciting again. Let's cross over Transformers and Fast and Furious. We need that in our lives.
yeah, it's getting to the point where it's just getting crazy with these films.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and getting a bit boring right now. Like, I don't know why they keep going to sequels and sequels.
So much of the film is just like the bare minimum, and it's just like, yeah, we've got characters with somewhat character arcs, and we've got the cool action, and the film looks pretty good just in general. Stephen Caple Jr. directed this, and he directed Creed 2. I think that, you know, his direction really works. Again, it's not quite as good as Michael Bay's, but at the same time, it's not quite the same. And I think the film does work visually. There's a lot of nice practical effects, and the CGI looks awesome. And as you say, the action was cool. Like when Bumblebee returns at the end, because the plot decides that it's time for Bumblebee to return. Like
he's back.
He's like, oh, it's Energon or whatever. Admittedly, it does look cool and all that. I think, yeah, just the main thing is that the movie was just mindless. It was just, you know, a fun time. And I feel like, you know, we're being so critical, but at the end of the day, it was just fine. You know, it wasn't. It just wasn't great, but it was still like
it wasn't terrible.
enjoyable.
It wasn't bad, but it was fine. It's so much better than the rest of Michael Bay films. Like this one, I can sit through it and like be like, yes, there is something in it, but it is mindless. I have to watch Bumblebee.
Yeah, I think Bumblebee still holds it's either the first Transformers or Bumblebee as the best ones. I think all the other Transformers movies have more memorable stuff than this one. Again, I haven't seen The Last Night, so I can't speak on that. But
you've seen the scene with Anthony Hopkins, just like he's just lost.
Just looking around, and then
he gets killed off by one of the villains in the film. I forgot the name. Yeah,
isn't it Megatron? Isn't it just Megatron who just like behind him just shoots him?
And then he's just like so confused. He doesn't know where to look. He's like, huh?
Yeah, I tell you what, there was actually a really nice death at the beginning of this with like Primal's dad or something, where he gets like ripped in half by Scourge and then blown a hole through him. I thought that was actually really cool. There's a lot of moments where I think, yeah, if we went a bit further with this concept, they could have done something really great.
I wish there was more of a proper story in this. Like, there is a story in this, but I just don't feel really immersed or taken into it. Again, this is Transformers. Again, you know, this is a pretty difficult something to tackle with, you know, with the story and the characters. Because there's so many Transformers, and you just feel like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that I'm going to remember from this movie is the ending with G.I. Joe setting up this cinematic universe, which is going to be, who knows, the Hasbro cinematic universe, I guess. It's official, everyone.
Yay.
They're doing it.
Woo. What else is in the Hasbro universe? Uno?
Uno?
Is Uno in the Hasbro?
Uno's not Hasbro, is it?
Is it?
I will now Google Hasbro properties.
That would be a funny film about
Oh my god, Hasbro owns Cluedo. Everyone, get ready for a Cluedo movie.
Oh my god.
With Transformers. Hasbro also owns Dungeons and Dragons. Is that true? Is that something that they own? I guess so.
Oh.
They own Monopoly?
Okay,
Surely
okay.
not.
I've got a question about that actually. In the future, how are they going to do a Monopoly film? Is it people going to be very angry?
It's just people really depressed, losing money all the time. It's just all the most depressing stuff of like The Wolf of Wall Street. Just people blowing all their money.
Here you go. Here's 100. Yeah. You landed at my place. Ha 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 ha. Now, give me.
It says here that they also own Peppa Pig. Now, I don't think that's true. But can you imagine Peppa Pig and the Transformers crossing over?
You see Peppa Pig just jumping down in the puddle, and then you see Optimus Prime's foot. Just like Peppa Pig.
That's the teaser. That's the teaser trailer. It's Peppa Pig splashing about in a puddle, and there's Optimus Prime's foot. Just
Peppa Pig. We need to go back to Cybertron. And then Peppa Pig's like, what?
We get a Daddy Pig and Optimus Prime team up fight.
Oi, what's going on? I can't do Daddy Pigs. No.
Apparently, they also own Scrabble and Power Rangers. Like, what is happening?
Power Rangers. Oh.
And Nerf. Oh my god, of course. Imagine a Nerf movie.
That would be the most dramatic film, actually.
The tagline will be, it's Nerf or nothing.
Damn. Imagine they had really cool concepts for the Nerf guns.
Imagine they weren't real guns; they were just still Nerf guns. So it's just like it's just them fighting against real guns, just with like these foam darts. Like ah.
Oh, it's like there was a pretty good YouTube channel called Corridor, and they did the short on this like Nerf gun movie, but it was John Wick. So they had like
my
a Nerf
God.
gun John Wick thing. It's pretty cool. Check it out.
John Wick would definitely kill you with a Nerf gun. There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt. There's
it wouldn't.
no doubt.
It wouldn't take much.
No, he wouldn't take much. Is that all for the Hasbro universe?
Well, I mean, there are more, but that's all that that's all that's worth talking about, I think. Cycling back to Transformers.
Oh,
I don't think
Transformers. Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have anything else to say. What are you gonna give it out of 10?
It's not terrible. It's not bad. I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right, I was gonna go 4. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed it, you can give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can follow and give us a 5-star review. Next week, we are going to... Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? What we're doing next week? Next week, we're doing Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, baby.
Oh,
now that is going to be amazing. Well, I mean, at least I hope so. That's going to be awesome.
Insane.
I think, didn't we see the Mission Impossible trailer before Transformers?
Yes, we did.
How cool. How cool was that?
Oh my God. They're definitely hiding something in that trailer. Like, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be like such a surprise if we could see it. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can send us an email, ousetimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and ask us any questions. We will answer it right here on the podcast next week. And you can follow us on Instagram, ousetimefilmpod, see our incredible thumbnails from Zain Afzal, and on Twitter for more thoughts from me. TikTok, where we post edited clips, which are also on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and you can find links to all that in the description below. Thanks to Jones-Meyer for the excellent theme and Ronan Phillips for the vocals, as always, and I think that is everything.
Yeah, that's it. Take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.